Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome to the 30th anniversary of Fitchburg Access Television and the 21st Annual Boulder Awards. It gives us great pleasure to be here again at the Oak Hill venue. The dining room looks fabulous, and we're very pleased and proud to be able to present this dinner tonight. Please continue with your meals. We want to run the program along a little bit. My name is Glenn Fossa. I'm the new executive director here for Fitchburg Access as we celebrate the retirement of Scott May and so many other folks tonight. I want to just first point out none of what Fitchburg Access Television does is possible without the staff and the tremendous staff that it is, as I recognize here to my left. Ann Bisbee, our operations manager, has since been elevated. And Tim Doust, please, our education and production manager. Education continues to be in the forefront of what Fitchburg Access Television does. It's a very important part of what our organization strives to continue with. And none of that is possible. Black screens and no sound would happen without our engineer, Travis Falk. And one of the milestones of our great relationship with Fitchburg State University, represented here tonight with Matt Brunn. Great to see you again, Matt. Our relationship with Fitchburg State University came to a successful epitome, I think, or pinnacle with our most recent hire of Dave Oster. Dave was a Fitchburg State University student who participated in a lot of the formal programs that we have at Fitchburg State and then has since become a full-time employee with us. Another great success story for Fitchburg State University and the work that we do with them is again illustrated by a young man who has taught us new levels of lighting in the studio. He embarks in the next few weeks on a trip out to Los Angeles to continue in his work in the field of broadcast and movies. Ty Dorsey. We're additionally thrilled to have more connection with Fitchburg State University with another one of our part-time production folks, Jared Roberts. And even at the high school level, we continue to engage and have a tremendous amount of respect for the work that is done by some very, very incredible young people, one of those of which is here tonight. I know I saw him. Michael Smith, please rise. And then last but certainly never least are the independent producers, which you'll meet also as they get introduced. A lot of them are board members or even former board members. And I would be remiss if I didn't just give quick accolades to how this all really began with a great man. I just saw him in traffic the other day, Mr. John Giannetti, and we're celebrating 30 years because of the work that he began with a camera in his living room. This tonight is, of course, a great illustration, again, of community and how Fitchburg Access Television continues to engage. I want to thank very much the representatives of the very busy Fitchburg Police Department, former colleagues, of course. The Chief, Ernest Martineau, is here, along with Captains Steve Giannini and Harry Hess. We will excuse them if they get called because I understand that this is also the last day of classes, formerly known as Spree Day. So we're glad that they could join us for dinner tonight. Last but not least, and all of the folks that deserve great accolades, a man who was a tremendous mentor to me in the broadcast field as a former board member, taking over in his position as vice president, Mr. Ken Jones, in the back of the room, please. Yeah. And every step of the way, all the past executive directors, including Scott, who everyone brings something to the table in what we learn about broadcast. And for an all-volunteer organization producing television, we certainly are thrilled to be here again tonight. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce Fitchburg's own Bill Gates, the president of Fitchburg Access Television.
Thank you, Glenn. And this is such a wonderful venue. I had a chance to come in here a couple of weeks ago and check it out, and this is really a spectacular place. I want to thank you all for coming, and I really hope you enjoy yourself, and thank you very much. No. It's not that easy. I know you were getting excited. It was, okay, we're going to get out of here quick, but no, there's just way too many good people here tonight that we have to recognize. And this is the chance we get to do it for FATV. But first, and I don't know if they've left yet already, but is the Fitchburg State University Chamber still here? And they've been with us for a number of years, and these are really superb musicians, and they've worked very hard at their craft. And I would like to call them out, and if they would please stand. Hilda Schilling on violin. Daniel Landry, violin. Demisty Bellinger Delfield, viola. Mary Bassett, cello. Jesse Bassett, percussion. Brindis Schilling, piano. And I'm going to announce Tina Wilson on violin. Even though she did not play tonight, Tina is the wife of our late Bob Wilson, who was just a wonderful, wonderful man, and it's wonderful to see Tina here tonight. There are a lot of people we need to thank tonight. We've had a lot of successes with our executive directors, our staff, and volunteers. And way too often for the volunteers on the board, that the day-to-day of living, your families, all your obligations, we meet once a month. And far too often, we really don't get a chance to think about what our staff does on a day-to-day basis. Anytime we have interaction with them, we're probably working on a production, and we don't get a chance to really talk to them. But we understand what they do on a day-to-day and what they accomplish on a day-to-day basis. They are really the face of FATV, and without them going out to the community and reaching out to the community, no one really knows what FATV is about. And if they weren't the type of people and the talented people that they are, then no one would want to come to FATV, and certainly we wouldn't have filled this place tonight. So I can't thank enough, and this comes from all of the board members, I can't thank our staff enough for everything that they do. Thank you. Okay, now I got lost. Okay, volunteers. We have well over 100 volunteers that work on so many productions at FATV. My mother always told me if I start calling out one or two of them, I better call them all out. So I want to thank all the volunteers that we have at FATV tonight, and we have a great crew. But the special volunteers are those that volunteer on the board of directors. The time that they put in, again, we meet once a month, but you're going to see as I introduce everyone, most of the BOD members work on some type of production during the week. They commit a tremendous amount of time to FATV for no money. So this is the time when we get to say thank you to them, and we realize how much they put into letting the community know what FATV does, but especially what a great community Fitchburg is. So will you please stand as I call your name? Amy Green. Amy Green is a vice president of FATV. She also does a weekly show called Weekly Wellness. She is a Ward 1 city councilor. Amy also is a licensed and certified massage and orthopedic therapist and owns her own business, Back in Touch Wellness Center on Walton Street. John Dextres. Is John with us this evening? John's not with us this evening, and you would think that if you knew John, you'd probably figure he was out on a truck event somewhere doing directing, but we know that's not possible tonight. So, John, sorry that you're not here, and he is a tremendous asset to Fitchburg Access Television, volunteering tremendous hours. He also volunteers at Lunenburg, so I'm not exactly sure what he does for work, but he can't find a heck of a lot of time to actually do his job. George Merijanian. George does a weekly show called Chess Chat. We're going to talk a little bit more about George later on in the evening because George is receiving a special award this evening. Art Collins. Art is out probably working a special sporting event somewhere in Massachusetts or across New England, but Art is the Mount Wachusett Community College Director for Media Services, and he's the Chief Engineer of Broadcasting and Electronic Media. He also does freelance work for the Boston Celtics, the Patriots, and many other organizations. Dave Clark. First and foremost, Dave is the voice of Red Raider football, along with Mike Flynn. Dave is also a counselor at large, and he works in the IT department at Fitchburg State University. Pastor Howard Shad. Howard is quite a personality, and Howard does 3 FATV shows. Days of Discovery, I Sing Because, Holiness Unto the Lord, which has just completed the 919th episode. Alexander Cardinale. Host of Inside Fitchburg, and Alex is Assistant Director of Admissions, and Alex is also a new mom who has brought her daughter Rena tonight, who is named after her grandmother, Steve's mom, and with Grammy right now, and Alex's husband, Michael. Alex Bogdasarian. Alex is one of those special guys with FATV because he came in very young, didn't know a lot about FATV, got involved, was there all the time, started learning. He does a weekly show called Sports Weekly. He now is a media tech at Harvard University, Media Technology Services, and he also is the voice of Fitchburg State, or one of the voices of Fitchburg State University football. Another person who started at FATV and has had a tremendous success in the business is Nate Lenny. And Nate is a freelance television technician. And what that really means is the big networks don't have to pay medical insurance. But Nate has the clients that Nate works for. He's a fantastic cameraman. If you were watching the Celtics last night, he was the guy sitting under the basket with the camera. But Nate's clients are Comcast Sports, NBC, CBS, ESPN, WCVB, and others. And last but not least, Cheryl Goodrow. Is Cheryl with us this evening? Cheryl is not. Cheryl is the Regional Business Advisor and Senior Vice President at Enterprise Bank. She's the newest member of FATV. She's only been on for a month or so we'll get her volunteering for shows or do a financial show on her own. So those are the people that make up the Board of Directors at FATV, and I can't thank them enough for all that they do for FATV. I'm going to give you a quick history. Since this is our 30th year of FATV. A quick history of the Boulder Award. It was the ingenious idea of the former executive director, Paul Whelan. I don't know if anybody goes back far enough to remember Paul, but Paul was the director of Buffalo Sabres hockey up in New York. And he was also a director and producer for all types of sports broadcasts for many major networks. He decided to retire. He saw an ad in the paper, and he came to Fitchburg Access Television. Best thing that ever happened to us. I remember the first project that we worked on with Paul. We were in the South Street administration building, a very tiny studio. Everybody got on their headsets, and Paul was directing. And the first thing that Paul said was, I don't care if this is Access TV. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And that stuck with everyone. And I think that was the driving force behind what FATV is and still works on becoming better and better and better. One of Paul's favorite things was, don't drop your shot, no feet. People will generally, if they take a camera and they say, we're going to the next camera, somebody will drop the camera down and you get feet. So, Paul is now teaching at St. Bonaventure in Syracuse, New York. And we've had great directors. Glenn mentioned John Giannetti. We had Mark Rocheleau. We've had Paul Whelan. We had a girl, Shelley Wolf. Unfortunately, she was with us for a very short time. She lost all of her belongings in the Johnsonia fire. After that, we had Dave Spence that filled a tremendous void, and I don't know if there's anybody in this room that doesn't know Dave Spence. After Dave, we came to a critical point. Who are we going to get to fill the shoes of Dave? And it became quite easy because we had Scott May, who was another radio personality, a good friend of Dave's, and it made such an easy transition. And there were no changes. Everything just carried on as it was. But the great thing is Scott's personality, his easygoing manner, his connection with staff made it so easy to develop. We got new underwriters. We expanded our educational program with Fitchburg High School and Fitchburg State University. And Scott's warm and welcome attitude and his approach to everything brought new faces to FATV. And now that Scott's retired, we would like to take this opportunity to thank Scott for everything that he's done. And if you would come up, Scott, please.
I don't have to wear a cowboy hat, do you?
No, I won't make you do that. Last year we made, or 2 years ago, we made Dave wear a cowboy hat, but we won't do that to Scott. We do know that you're painting your house, so we had it. I mean, it was wide open, but we didn't take it. So, but we've got a small token of our appreciation here, Scott, and your personality and the way you handle everyone at FATV. And for the 2 short years that you're with us and going into retirement, we wish you well in retirement and hope that you can spend a nice long weekend with you and Mickey and enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of work. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So at the risk of making terrible protocol errors, we will now introduce some of our other dignitaries that are here tonight that are we're going to see again. Senator Jen Flanagan from the district. Representative Stephen Hay. And, of course, our Honorable Mayor Steve DiNatale and extended family. We're thrilled to be able to have Michael Cardinelli, new father, join us tonight. So thank you, Michael. So on with the program, and like with every Academy Award or Emmy or whatever those awards may be in the entertainment industry, FATV has embarked on some Lifetime Achievement Awards, and we'd like to have Amy Green come up and do a presentation.
Thank you. I know how important audio is, so make sure everything is in order. Pastor Shad was one of the first board members I met almost 7 years ago when I became involved with FATV. That was my day of discovery. With his Colonel Sanders' welcoming smile and his reassuring nod, I knew we would be pals. Over the years, I have come to count on him being at every board meeting and special event, lending his holy words of wisdom. One of my favorite words of wisdom moment was when Pastor Shad reiterated the words of John Wooden, "Never mistake activity for achievement." You see, he said, just like the voice the Lord was talking to me, or Morgan Freeman, I haven't decided, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. I really took those words to heart, not only then, but every day since. It is said that a good life is when you smile often, dream big, laugh a lot, and then realize how blessed you have. We, as a community, are blessed to have Pastor Shad and his shows that bring messages of hope and inspiration to our viewers. A Lifetime Achievement Award, wow, that is a tough act to follow, where we recognize your contributions over a career rather than a single measure of unit. So it is with these words: patience with family is love, patience with others is respect, patience with yourself is confidence, and patience with God is faith, that I offer a thank you to Pastor Howard Shad for his lifetime of accomplishment in life and in our great community.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy. She was reading all of that good stuff, and I wondered who she was really talking about. I wanted to say tonight is I'm so thankful that I'm almost lost for words. And they said I could have 3 minutes. Would anyone give me 3 more minutes? All right. I want to share with you tonight my little life story. It was 1954 when I came to New England. You can tell by my accent that I'm not a New Englander, but that's okay. If you came where I came from, you'd have the accent. I was looking for my church, and I couldn't find it. So I went to Leominster, and there was a little church, and there was an Oldsmobile garage across from that church. A gentleman came out and helped me to find the people in the church and started my life. The only thing I remember about him, that his name was Barney. And for years I've thought about Barney. And then I want to give great thanks tonight for Mr. Philippone, the owner of WEIM. It was his graciousness that I spent 11 years at 8:30 in the morning singing I Sing Because. And then after 11 years, I came to FATV. I have seen FATV grow so beautifully. And I've served under Paul Whelan and all of the directors, up with even with Scott. And I thought how wonderful it is tonight. The other day, I was thinking about when I came to New England and meeting Barney. I was telling my friend Glenn over here, I was telling him about it, and all of a sudden he stopped and he said, "What was the man's name?" And I said, I just know Barney. He said, "That's my father." So in these years, I've produced 2,000 programs for Fitchburg Access Television, and it's been a great honor. The people that was there in my beginning was Mr. Philippone, Frank Philippone, and Ann. And here I've gone around this circle, and who do I serve today? And who am I with? Glenn's father started me out, and for 61 years, I wanted to mention this tonight. See, they told me 3 minutes, okay? So I'm watching the watch. It don't mean anything, but I'm watching it. For 61 years, my wife and I took New England as our home. We were from this great strait of West Virginia. You notice that accent. I haven't lost it. And I've tried, but I can't. But for 61 years, we were married. Last March, she went home to be with the Lord. There is a way to make it through. When I came out tonight, the first thing I had planned to say, I was going to say, Barak Hashem Anu. Blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord. And I thought tonight, what a community that we really have. We're working to make this community a better place. Fitchburg Access Television, I am a little nervous tonight. Now, preacher never gets nervous, but you all look so beautiful tonight. I wanted to do something. Barak Abba B'Shem Adonai. Blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord. Being maybe the only preacher here tonight, I want to bless this congregation and our mayor and the police force, our fire department. You have to receive it. When I say it, I'm blessing the city of Fitchburg. You say, well, who are you to bless the city of Fitchburg? Barak Abba Adonai. Blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord. I know the Lord personally. He's my Savior. He's my King. And I can't help starting to preach a little bit tonight. But I'm going to quit right now. Would you just bow your heads for just a moment and receive? May the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he lay his hand upon our city. May he protect us from all harm. May he bless our mayor, our chief of police, and all of the firefighters and the officers on the police force. May they be kept safe in this city. And as good and helpful believers, we ask it in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus, our Father in heaven. And I say, I close my prayer with, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. And everybody said, come on now. Amen. You can do better than that. Come on. Amen. Come on, do better than that. Amen. You got it. Thank you, Amy. Oh, you're going to get my award. Okay. I shall cherish this. FATV means hope for the future.
Before I give out an award to George Marjanian, as always, I find myself in the position where I sit back down and I say, I forgot someone. And I don't know how I can forget this person because I've grown to really have a tremendous amount of respect for him. When I talked about easy transitions between executive directors, one of the easiest transitions for me as president was to work with Glenn Fossa. Glenn has been with the board of directors for 13 years and served as vice president. A lot of you know Glenn as a former Fitchburg police officer, but I can tell you that FATV is growing, and we're going to be doing wonderful, exciting things, new, challenging things in the future. So thank you so much, Glenn. George Marjanian does a show called Chess Chat, and it's one of the gems of FATV. Since it first aired in 2006, Chess Chat is one program that has attracted an international audience. Whether you are a chess aficionado or a beginner, George's style and mastery of the game makes Chess Chat a fun and interesting insight into the complex game of chess. George was also a writer for the Sentinel and Enterprise. He was editor-in-chief of the Massachusetts Chess Association, and he continues introducing chess to all age groups through the Wachusett Chess Club and the Fitchburg Library. George is a very complex and interesting person who speaks several languages, has a wonderful knowledge of Fitchburg history and its people, and you would think a weekly show, volunteering for 11 years, would command much of a person's time, but George is also a member of the board of directors. The board values his thoughtful judgment. His warm and friendly interaction creates a welcome atmosphere, and his input to the growth and well-being of FATV is so valued it can't be understated. It is with great respect and a privilege for me to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to George Marajanian.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure. Do you want to say something? Yeah, do you want to take a quickie? All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bill, for those. Thank you, Bill, for those very kind words. Humbly, I accept this award on behalf of the crew, which has made Chess Chat a reality at FATV. Very thankful to FATV for providing that opportunity to promote the game of chess and the Wachusett Chess Club at Fitchburg State University, which, like the former Fitchburg State president, who say Fitchburg State is the best university in the state, State University of the state, I claim that Wachusett Chess Club is the best chess club in the state. It has a very rich history. It is the second oldest chess club in the Commonwealth. It actually is the second most active, actually second in attendance. We actually draw more chess players, not only from the north central Massachusetts area, but New Hampshire, the Boston area, western Mass, south of Worcester. We get them from all over. And our attendance actually outdoes that of Boston, Worcester, Springfield. We outdo them in the numbers of people who come and play chess. We promote the royal game, which we chess players are fanatics about claiming is the best game there is. I would be remiss if I did not actually thank the people who have made Chess Chat what it is. My co-host, my current co-host, Dave Cooch, I want him to stand. Dave actually has been a super co-host. His predecessor, Rick Evans, who was the former state medical examiner, also was my co-host for a period. And before him, the late Martin Lane, who was a journalist who also worked for the Sentinel Enterprise years ago, was my first co-host. I appreciate all those three co-hosts, but I also appreciate the special co-hosts I've had. I have one of them who's here, who's my significant other, and her name is Gail Lingner, and she has been a co-host, special co-host, on several occasions. I've had a couple of former Wachusett Chess Club champions, Larry Gladding, formerly of Fitchburg, now living in Leominster, and Bruce Felton of Fitchburg, who've also co-hosted with me on the program. Again, I want to thank the chess players who came tonight. I recognize them, especially the hardcore. I know there are softcore chess players here, but I'm going to point out the hardcore chess players. They're sitting right down there with Alan Condon, if he would stand there, and Arthur Barlas and his wife Julie from Chelmsford. They're here. And one person that I've known probably close to maybe 40 years, well, at least 35, who's the managing editor of the Sun, the Lowell Sun, the Daily Sun, That's Tom Zuppel. Where's Tom? Where's Tom sitting? I've known this guy for nearly 4 decades. He was a fanatical chess player. Once he got into the journalism trade, that came to a halt. He came to a halt very fast. Although he did play when he was an editor at the Middlesex News, which became the Metro West Daily News, had a super chess column in that paper. What years were those? Back in the 80s, right? Way back. Before, yes, right. So I've known Tom. Again, I appreciate the chess players. And again, I especially appreciate FATV providing that opportunity with these volunteers. It is all done by volunteers. I cannot underscore the importance of volunteers at FATV. That's what makes FATV a reality, the volunteers at FATV. And I thank FATV for what they've done for the city and beyond. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. We have a Bill Gates, and we have a General Mike Flynn, who's taking over Washington by storm. He was unable to be here tonight. He's got some things that he's working on. This Mike Flynn has nothing to do with that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is yet another victim of fake news. You guys have demanded me to do a little audio test, so I will do it. 2 peanuts were walking down the street. One was assaulted. I'm here to talk about Mike Flynn tonight. And there's a lot of numbers. I think, I believe myself, because I like to talk about myself, that I think at WEIM and FATV, continuous, I've been there 38 years. And Flinny has been there right at the side all the way. We've had a lot of fun. Names like Herb Huffnagel. Coaches would tell us names that didn't exist. They were kind of funny. But Flinny, he plays a little softball. He played for 60 hours straight. He throws a knuckleball. As a goaltender, however, he allowed 732 goals, all given up to Jean-Guy Gagnon, leading to his other nickname, 5-Hole Flynn. Mike is hoping for a telestrator and dreams about the day that he can get his very own MIAA Seasons Pass. But for now, Friday night at Crocker Field with the entire FATV crew sounds pretty good to me. Thank you very much. Mike Flynn. I'm getting out of here.
Get out of the way. So here's my speech. I thank everybody from FATV. I thank my 38-year-old partner. So about 7 years ago, they asked us to come over from radio and do the TV. So people would ask us, what was the difference? So the first thing I told them is we didn't get paid. But the second thing was when we did radio together, we had to schlep our own equipment. You know, we would have to show up 2 hours early before the game, set everything up in the rain, the wind, and then after the game, take everything and put it back, drive back to the studio. Now they call us the talent. So we can show up anytime we want before the game, go up to the booth, do the game, and leave. We don't have to touch nothing. So I want to thank all the guys and all the girls that work, who do the crew, who set up all the cameras. They do all the work. You know, we're just two guys sitting up in the booth talking, making jokes, and having a good time. So thank you, everybody.
everybody. How's it going? So, Sam Qualia, show producer of the year. Sam started discussing Fitchburg Now several years ago, when Inside Fitchburg was in its transitional period. The two shows now split Wednesdays on FATV at 7 p.m. Sam has skyrocketed her show into one of the most watched shows on FATV. Her ability to continually book interesting guests and host in a way that keeps any subject engaging is remarkable. Her show, whose name mirrors her Facebook group, is one of the most interesting shows we have on FATV. The range of guests Sam has on her show is incredible, from comedy roundtables to political discussions and local events to shows with 3 live bands performing in 1 hour. She always keeps the crew on her toes. Moving forward, Sam and her show will continue to bring the community together by allowing guests the opportunity to educate, inform, and entertain. And now FATV Producer of the Year, Sam Qualia. Sam, you have to do me the honor of taking a selfie with me before your speech.
Oh, that was really nice, Dave. There was a lot of Incredibles in there. Oh, Producer of the Year. This feels really great. Thank you so much, FATV. Like Mike said, sometimes I just feel like the talent. I feel like discussing Fitchburg Now quite often. I just come in and sometimes I come in, it's they've got the whole thing set up, ready to go. I just send a quick email telling them how I want it, and the crew's already set it up. So really, I owe, the whole show's success is really thanks to the crew at FATV. It's one of the most fun volunteer activities that I do. It is the most fun volunteer activity that I do, by far. We get to do a live show twice a month, and I get to book any guest that I want. But really what I like to do is engage with the community and let them tell their story. So someone writes me and says, Sam, I want to do a comedy show. I'm like, well, we'll set it up. We'll get a table of comedians. We'll have jokes. We'll set you up first. We'll do those. Sam, I want to play live music. Like, I know some guys who knew audio. All right, and these guys, they set it up for 2 hours. We get and it is stressful. But they do it, and they smile, and I yell at Dave, don't forget this camera. Make sure that the pictures are all at 45 seconds. Don't forget this line. He always smiles. He's always happy. Everyone is. So I'm so grateful to FATV for everything, and I'm so appreciative for this award. The crew, like I said. But really, where it all started was Tim Doust. Without Tim, I never would have even done this show. It was Tim who said, Sam, discussing Fitchburg Now. You have to do discussing Fitchburg Now on FATV. I was like, yeah, I don't think so. No. It worked. and then he kept working on me. Sam, discussing Fitchburg Now. We'll do a live Facebook thing, like a call-in show. All right. And here I am. And it's really one of the best things that I've done. And I appreciate it so much, Tim. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
There you go.
It's like an FATV Emmy.
That's right.
Thank you.
No problem.
Ooh, this is the last one. All right, I'll be quick. Romulo Testamarta. Who here remembers Romulo? Raise your hands. Okay. I go back far enough where I actually had the opportunity to work with Romulo and volunteer with him. In 1994, as a 14-year-old kid, Romulo was like scary. He was intimidating and kind of grumpy. But as I got to know him a little bit more, working on tons of productions as a kid, just like Michael, maybe a little bit younger than him, I got to realize that Romulo held those values of what Fitchburg Access Television was and what it meant to be a volunteer. And I see that in Michael. Michael started out a few years ago, and we've seen him grow. People who know me often hear me say that I love mistakes. I love that you can be on live television and have that atmosphere and make those mistakes, because you can't do that anywhere else. And that's what FATV offers. Now, Michael doesn't make many mistakes, if any at all, anymore. And it's really been amazing to watch him build his craft. He's just a brilliant kid. So, Michael, this award is for you. Come on up.
I just want to say thank you to everyone. I love volunteering at FATV. It's an amazing opportunity for just being able to learn about all these pieces of equipment that goes into making a show, making it happen. And without the equipment, without the people, it doesn't happen. So all I can say is that with the amazing people that we have at FATV, and especially with when I walked in the first day and I said, I want to be in television, it just, you know, the comforting experience, I felt like I was at home. I didn't find it, especially where I had gone previously, and they didn't treat me the same. And I'm really happy that I found FATV. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tim. Of course, the Doust family, having spent many years working with Tim's brother, who is a Fitchburg Police Detective Sergeant, and the whole Doust family, such great folks who really embody service, and of course, FATV does that well. Last but not least, in any way, one of our great past board members, Bob Wilson, also a Fitchburg State University staff, was instrumental in so many of the changes, so much of the growth of Fitchburg Access Television. And upon his passing, we developed the Bob Wilson Scholarship Fund. Tina Wilson, I think, is here tonight. Can you just raise your hand, Tina, if you're still in the building? Hi, Tina. Thank you so much. Tina continues to support both Fitchburg State University and Fitchburg Access Television. And the recipient this year of the Bob Wilson Scholarship is Sarah Witherow. Can we see Sarah? So the program, of course, has only just begun. And now is the time that we will now call up our most valued dignitaries for the proclamations coming ahead. So if I could call Senator Jen Flanagan, please. Oh, excuse me. And Mayor Di Natale. We're out of order. That's my fault. We're going to say the same thing. We're going to say the same thing. Okay. So,
I'll just say it for all three. Thank you. And, you know, it's really good to be here, and it's interesting to be named as a dignitary, but the reality is the three of us get along so well that Doesn't matter who goes first, right, Mr. Mayor? I think I trump you in stature. Just a little. It's all love, though. It's all love. I love the mayor. But tonight we're here to honor a man who has been so good to us. We give you a lot of things to write about. We give your staff a lot of pictures to take, a lot of articles to write. And it got really scary when they came out with Periscope and Tout and all those things that they start talking to us with. But in all honesty, when we met, it was right after the ice storm. And I had just become the senator, and everything was a mess. We didn't have lights, we didn't have power, we didn't have anything. And we stuck together and we got through it, and it was through the press that we were able to talk to our constituents, and we thank you and your staff for that. But tonight I'm honored to be here to honor Charlie St. Amand as the 21st Annual Boulder Award recipient. The Massachusetts State Senate wants to extend our congratulations to you and to really say you've done a great job here in North Central Massachusetts. We admire you, we honor you, and we thank you. So congratulations.
The Senate obviously has not read some of my editorials, but I
read all of them.
I appreciate this. And I know what's coming next. Come on up. Because he showed me a piece of paper. And I said, I hope there's a lot of zeros on that.
You see, Charlie, what's that? What color is that? It's blue, right?
Blue.
Yeah, because she comes from Leominster, that's why. You know what I mean? But we'll forgive you tonight.
I'm not getting in the middle of it.
Yeah, we get along really well if everybody, you haven't figured that out yet, right? Yeah, I'll talk to her afterwards. First of all, you know what I wanted to say? That we really, and it's kind of a dead crowd. Let's go. Bill Gates, 27 years with FATV. You were here from the beginning. Come on. Let's go. Thank you, Billy. Thank you. I did. I said, Rita, I'm sorry, honey. Charlie, I honestly, it's not often, being in public service, being a politician and whatnot. I've been doing this for about 20 years. It's not often that you can pick up the phone and just and call the editor of the newspaper in your district or your town, and we have that relationship, and that's pretty special. It's not always good on either side, not always, but again, the importance is that we can call and talk to each other and be honest and frank, and that's something that you can't put a price tag on that. So we've got a citation, people of Fitchburg, for you. Even though you live in Townsend, is it? Pepperell. Oh, even better. My wife taught there for 36 years. Yeah. She used to take her 4 or 5 hours to get home. My
daughter teaches
there. Where did you teach?
I teach at Varnum Brook.
Varnum Brook?
Yeah.
Wait, Peter Fitzpatrick? Yeah, it's Old Home Week, folks. Let's go on. Talk amongst yourselves. But this is a citation from the city, Charlie. We really, really appreciate your efforts. And we've said in it, being honored with the Boulder Award, and this is the key, due to your commitment to the city and partnership with FATV. And that commitment to the city is gargantuan, and we couldn't be happier and prouder to have you in our city as our daily newspaper. And this is a citation from the people. The entire citizenry extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion. It expresses the hope for continued good fortune. Congratulations, and thank you.
Does this make me eligible for pension?
He says, does this make him eligible for a pension? No, it does not.
And then, of course, we're pleased to have in attendance tonight, as previously announced, Representative Stephen Hay with more.
Thank you, Glenn. I will note that Steve's proclamation was in a red folder, Jen's was in blue, mine is in white, so we've covered the red, white, and blue. I'll be real brief. I would just like to say that I have an incredible amount of respect for Charlie, the newspaper, and the work that they do, and very appreciative that every day I can get up and open a newspaper that prints real news. Thank you. Citation from the House of Representatives. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Charles St. Amand in recognition of receiving the 2017 FATV Boulder Award. Charlie, congratulations and thank you.
Very early on, during a period of time that I was the news contact person for the Fitchburg Police Department, Charlie St. Amand called a meeting. And we went into that meeting, and a very, very professional meeting between public safety and the reporters there. And that is a very unusual circumstance in the industry, to be able to go in and sort of establish the relationship. And I can't say enough about Charlie St. Amand's professionalism in the industry and representing the Sentinel and Enterprise. So it is at this time I'd like to invite our guest speaker, Mr. Dan Phelps, up to speak more about Editor Charles St. Amand.
Guest speaker. I found out when I walked in I was going to speak. Thank you, Mr. Campanini, for not showing up. Oh, Ashley's taking pictures. Hold on. Okay. Did I go in? All right. Yeah, everyone had their speeches up here. I just scribbled a few notes. Anyone want to bet the over-under on how long it takes Charlie to mention Frank Sinatra in his speech? We're at a minute and a half right now, so I don't know how long it's going to take. But I'm going under on that one. I'm going to bet 100. No, but seriously, I've worked and been a co-worker and friend of Charlie's for, God help us, about 3 decades now. And back at the Lowell Sun, where I work, and it says Charles here, but he's Charlie. Everyone calls him Charlie, except for Annabelle, calls him Gampy. But as far as journalistic ethics and integrity, these folks said it all. Charlie is second to none when it comes to those traits. And, I'm real happy to have called him a co-worker and a friend for all this time. And I really don't know what the Boulder Award is. I'm from Lowell. But it says for outstanding contribution to civic life through the use of public communications, and I can't think of anyone more deserving than Charlie in the years that he's been the editor here at the Sentinel Enterprise. So I congratulate Charlie on his fine work here in Fitchburg, and you should all be thankful that you have an editor here who is so open to speaking with the public officials and that has created such a relationship here in the city. So. He deserves it.
And this will be my opportunity to thank you, Scott, for being a executive director that we could count on, and very much enjoyed and appreciate the lessons learned from you. And I hope you won't be a stranger to FATV. And we'll be behind you 100% with the Relay for Life and those things ahead.
Thank you very much. I was remiss because I was taken by surprise by Bill in the recognition of my time at FATV, and I was remiss in not thanking the Board of Directors for their confidence and support, but more importantly to me, the staff who I think made my
2 years as executive director very easy, a lot of fun, and it's a very creative, professional group of people, and made my life better having worked with them and for them. So thank you all very much. So during the course of his 30 years or so in the newspaper business, Charlie has held many different titles: a news editor, city editor, metro editor, night editor, executive news editor, also the titles of husband, dad, granddad, and pronouncer. The pronouncer is the person who has the awesome task of reading the words to be spelled by the students at the regional spelling bee. It's held every March at the Doubletree Hotel. Charlie's wife, Pam, says that Charlie is so amped up about the event that he regularly talks in his sleep, saying things like, "What is the origin of that word? Could you use the word in a sentence? And could you please repeat the word?" I've known Charlie for most of his time with Ascent New through my association with WPKZ Radio and then FATV. And as the FATV relationship grew, so did our collaborative efforts in covering events like the spelling bee, political debates, elections, government meetings. And when I became executive director of FATV a couple of years ago, one of the first meetings that I scheduled was with Charlie. We agreed at that meeting to become media partners, to include some cross-marketing, to collaborate even more closely on our mutual coverage of events in Fitchburg. And you'll be seeing evidence of that, particularly this year, with there being another election year in the city. And that certainly fits our criteria for the Boulder Award, which is given for outstanding contributions to civic life through the use of public communications. It is my pleasure on behalf of the FATV Board of Directors and staff to present the 21st Annual Boulder Award to our friend and our partner, the pronouncer, Charlie St. Amand. Very delicate.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you, Dan, for those kind words. I kind of wish that when people introduce me for awards that they say bad things about me, so I'm not, and I get emotional very quickly. And so very nice words. And some of my staff might want equal time for rebuttal, I'm not sure. But I thank the FATV Board of Directors for selecting me for this honor. It means a lot, it does. And it's a little overwhelming when I think of the people who have received this award before me. Two of the first people I met, the very first day I was on this job, were Boulder Award recipients. Stephen DiNatale, then rep, and Ellen DiGeronimo, who is probably my favorite Fitchburger. I'm sorry, Mayor. And when Bill Gates, called me, as I know him, the Bill Gates, I said, don't you want to give it to someone who really deserves it, and he said, come on, knock it off. And I just want to say it means a lot. FATV, hi, sweetie. This is my granddaughter, Annabelle. Say hello. She is very shy. And, 2-year-olds, this isn't really an event for 2-year-olds. Although I act like one sometimes, just ask my wife. But, okay. Yeah. This is why W.C. Fields didn't work with kids. So, she had to be here, though, because she has helped me find a little balance in my life between work and everything else. And you want to go see Mama? Go ahead. Go see Mama. She does what she wants, really. She helped me find balance. But I'll tell you, there's still some Saturday mornings. She comes over on Saturdays, and she comes up. And invariably, I'm reading copy for Sunday's paper. I'm sitting at the kitchen table, and she walks over, and she looks up at me with those big blue eyes. And she reaches out her hand, and she grabs me, and she pulls me into her world. And before I know it, I'm sitting at a very tiny table in a very tiny chair, sipping the most amazing imaginary tea I have ever tasted. Okay? And Mayor, before long, you'll be doing the same. She had to be here. Never mind that she's a great blessing on our life. So I'm just, I want to thank FATV for their, she screwed up my whole speech here. It's all out of order now. Yeah, true. And FATV does great work in the community, and I'm glad that the Central Enterprise and FATV have been able to partner on such events as our political debates, spelling bee, all of that stuff. They are good at what they do, okay? You are good at what you do. And we've had a great relationship going back really to Shelley Wolf. We did a series. Ann O'Connor wrote a book on Fitchburg, and I serialized it in the paper, and then they held, the very next night, they would have a show based on the first installment. So we went throughout the year that way. And then Dave Svens and Scott and Glenn Fossa, and we go way back. Our missions complement each other very well, I think. Barbara Foster, whom I refer to as the queen of all media in this region, is a special lady and a terrific host. And I've actually pitched in for her when she's been unable to attend, and I'm like, how do I be Barbara? No one is Barbara. I'd like to acknowledge some of the friends and families and family members and colleagues who are here with me tonight. At this table, the managing editor, hold your applause, okay? Tom Zupa, whom George Marajanian has already introduced, managing editor of The Sun, and his significant other, Elaine Sandelman. Dan Phelps, you know, two of my staffers, my right-hand person, Cliff Clark, the city editor, whom you all know, and he has actually helped me find a little bit better balance between work and everything else. He's just not as cute as Annabelle. And the reporter who's covering this great event for us tonight, Amanda Burke. At this table, also a colleague, the Lowell Sun's enterprise editor, Chris Scott, has, and we go way back. He was at the paper already at least 6 years before I got to the paper, and in Lowell I started in '89. You started in '82, '84. And my family, my daughter. I'm going to go around this way. My daughter Emily, my son-in-law Kyle Jacobson, his wife, our oldest daughter, Kristen. You've already met Annabelle. My sister-in-law Cheryl, my brother Steve. Steve and I just got back from the Masters tournament. And I say that only because I just love to say we just got back from the Masters. And we had a great trip. And if you have 3 more hours, I'll tell you all about it. My wife Pam, I just got a Boulder. She is my rock. She really is. I hope I'm not the first person who's used that line at this event. And Annabelle's mom, Cammie Charlone, and our son, Annabelle's father, our son Ryan, could not be here tonight because he is on tour with his band. Okay, and believe me, that is a lot less lucrative than it sounds. Okay, just ask Cammie. I love the name of this award. It's great, the Boulder. And it's appropriate for me because I'm sure there are days when the readers of the Sentinel and Enterprise put down their paper convinced that the editor has rocks in his head. And I know the mayor does once in a while, too. And when Bill Gates called me, I started immediately thinking about Boulder, and I started thinking about the word because I'm a words guy, and Sisyphus came to mind. You know, that the king from Greek mythology who was condemned by the gods to roll a large boulder up a hill only to have it rolled back down again, up and down for an eternity. And I realized that analogy really just doesn't fit me because I have had great support all of my life. The people I just talked to you, the people I just introduced to you, are part of them, and they're a big reason why I'm not with Sisyphus. I am the youngest of 7. Every one of my siblings mentored me in some way, some aspect of my life. My parents, Raymond and Jenny St. Amand, were great people. Their example still guides me. My wife, Pam, and children are always there for me. Their love sustains me. I've worked, like I said, I've worked with some great journalists throughout my career. And these folks that I mentioned from the Sun, you know, you see their work in our paper and online. Although we are 35 miles apart, we very much work as one team. And we share resources. We share, you know, that's why sometimes you'll see a regional story that has maybe a Lowell reference in it, a Tewksbury reference in it. I really try to leverage every resource I can to get the news covered. And so you are familiar with their work. Dan Phelps is a great columnist, and he's a great copy editor. And if you have laughed reading a headline that wasn't a typo in the Sentinel and Enterprise, it was probably written by Dan, okay? My publisher, Mark O'Neill, could not be here tonight because he actually made his budget presentation to corporate in Philadelphia today. I'm sure he did well because he is also good at what he does. And he's very good to the Sentinel and Enterprise. He says yes a lot. And you want a publisher who says yes a lot. And he said yes almost immediately when I talked to him about this wacky idea about putting the alphabet on the front page for 26 days in a row. And he bought into it pretty quickly. Thank you. And he was really, you know, he was great with it. The only thing is he says, we're not running it on Sundays. And I don't know why, but I would have run it on Sundays, but he didn't want to do it. But it was a great collaboration, and I think a big win for the community. Another person who could not be here tonight and who was supposed to speak, and I'm glad he didn't because he would have been, he'd still be up here, actually. But Jim Campanini, the editor of the Sun, he and I have worked, but for maybe a few weeks, he and I have worked together my entire career, 31 years. We met when I was just an intern at the Patriot Ledger. He knew I was from Salem. He went to become the news editor at the Salem Evening News. He hired me at the Salem Evening News. He left to go to the Lowell Sun. 3 weeks later, he hired me at the Lowell Sun. And so I owe him really my career. He is a brilliant editor, a great ideas guy, an excellent writer. And I've had a pretty good career just trying to keep up with him, okay? I'll leave it at that. So I don't relate to Sisyphus. Now, the city of Fitchburg I'm sure there have been times when Fitchburg has felt like Sisyphus, but I don't believe that's the case right now. Sisyphus, after all, was doomed to work alone. But at this point in time, there are a lot of people in Fitchburg who are helping to push that boulder up the hill. People who excel in their own worlds and contribute every day to Fitchburg's success. Think about it. We have Andre Ravenel, Massachusetts Superintendent of the Year, is running your schools. Running your schools in very challenging fiscal and social times. Keep him on the job in Fitchburg. Police Chief Martineau has brought crime down. He's brought crime down amid a horrible opioid crisis. And as his annual report that he delivered last week, calls to the police have increased in 2016. But I see that as a good sign, that the people of Fitchburg won't accept the bad stuff happening in their neighborhoods, and they also feel they have a chief and a police force that wants to hear from them. That is important. You've got a mayor in Stephen DiNatale who is the cheerleader-in-chief for the city, but is also delivering on promises to remove blight and to welcome new businesses and economic activity. And he's not a guy who considers failure an option. And that doesn't mean he's not always gonna succeed, but you could not define it as failure, okay? He's a tremendous asset to the city. And you have a state senator, Jen Flanagan, and state rep Stephen Hay, who go to Beacon Hill every day to remind people exactly where North Central Massachusetts is. And Senator Flanagan, of course, is working to help Chief Martineau solve this horrible opioid problem. I mean, there are a lot of people pushing this rock up the hill. Tricia Pistone at Mock doing what they're doing with the Reimagine North of Maine project is helping to transform a neighborhood and help the residents that they themselves ultimately help teach them that they themselves ultimately will determine the success and safety of their own neighborhood. At the North Central Chamber, Roy Nascimento has brought a new energy to that organization with a focus on job creation. In about 10 hours, I'll be headed to the Chamber's annual scholarship breakfast. And I know some of you will be there as well. And if you are worried about this world in the hands of the next generation, okay, go to this breakfast. It will relieve your worries. We might have to be driving, if I ever get this speech over, we might have to drive right there, Mayor, you know. Our business community has incredible leadership. Just look at the people heading your financial institutions. Marty Connors at Rollstone, Ken Anson at Enterprise, Doug Peterson at Workers, Tina Sprague at GFA, Ed Manzi at Fidelity. These people understand their roles in the city and the region's success, and they are delivering. It helps, of course, that they have all the money. Nick Capasso is doing world-class work at the Fitchburg Art Museum. If you haven't been there since he's taken over, you haven't been there, okay? Go. I am also glad he is taking an active role in emphasizing to our elected officials that the creative economy is an important component to downtown Fitchburg's ongoing renaissance. Just a block away, Susan Navarre at the Historical Society is reminding us of Fitchburg's rich history and hopefully making us realize there is history yet to be made here. Serial volunteers like Bill and Maureen McSheehy are inspiring others to do the same, to do what they can to improve Fitchburg's quality of life. When Robert Antonucci retired as president of Fitchburg State, a lot of people wondered whether his successor would understand, as Bob did, the university's critical role in Fitchburg's future. President Richard Lapidus has answered that question emphatically and dramatically with the university's purchase of the theater block on Main Street to be used for classroom space, a business incubator, and eventually a performing arts center. This project could be a game changer for Fitchburg, and Dr. Lapidus is driving it. The future also depends on the people of Fitchburg, and I can tell you our website page view numbers suggest that residents are keenly interested in the momentum that is building here. You know, when people put out newspapers for a couple hundred years, we never really knew exactly how many people read that story or how many people really enjoyed that story. But online, we can count everything, okay? And we have analytics. We can see real time. Right now, I can go on my cell phone and find out how many people are on my website and see exactly what they're reading, okay? It's a little scary. But I'll tell you, the analytics should give you folks some reason to be optimistic. Coverage of the theater block purchase generated more than 7,000 clicks on our website. Stories on the roundabout at Rollstone and Electric Ave got us 5,000 clicks. A slideshow on the planned demolition of eyesore buildings across the city. Not one slide contained a photo of Kim Kardashian, okay? That got us 50,000 page views. Tell me the residents of this city are not engaged in this renaissance, okay? Our daily average of page views, by the way, is about 37,000. We do about 1.2 million a month. But 50,000 page views because they want to see which eyesores are coming down. Is it the one in their neighborhood? And so we understand that these are stories that resonate with the readers. And, you know, people have talked about Spree Day, you know. I mean, who knew kids, at the end of college kids, at the end of when classes are over, they party? Who knew that, you know? We call that a dog bites man story, okay? Now, if they burn down half the city, that would become a man bites dog story, and then we'd really cover it, okay? So a lot of hands are pushing that boulder. It's a good story. You know, we're going to have to tell you the bad news. That's what we do. We have to tell you the bad and the good. If we only gave you bad news, we would not be reflecting what is happening in our communities, okay? So the Sentinel and Enterprise will be here to cover every step to the summit. Thank you very much. I just have to say one more thing. The mayor said, I have a better Boulder than he has. So this is a big night for me. Thank you.
So we want to thank you all for coming, and I'll let Bill close it up tonight. Thank you again.
Again, thank you all so much for coming. This was a very enjoyable night. Every year it seems to just get better and better. We truly enjoy this time that we can take to celebrate FATV with the community, to celebrate people like Charlie, and there are many, many more people in Fitchburg that would be deserving of the Boulder Award. So stay tuned. Thanks a lot, and good night, everyone.